Hey guys, we are going to move on. Since I have some review stuff because we're actually kind of done with most of what's on our exam, but I thought there's some important stuff that's going to help you with pre-calc next year that you probably were maybe a little fuzzy on or just need reminding from geometry. Okay, so we're going to do some triangle trig. Okay, now trigonometry, remember, that's when we're talking about like sine, cosine, tangent. Okay, now again, some of you remember all this stuff. Remember that SOHCAHTOA. Okay, some of you might remember. Okay, so remember, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, remember SO, S-O-H. That's kind of that SOHCAHTOA if you try to remember. Okay, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So CA, C-A-H, CA, and then TOA. TOA is tangent, which is opposite over adjacent. So again, hopefully this is review. You spent time with this last year. I guess you would have all had Miss Grabowski when she was teaching all this last year. So again, triangle trig. Now remember, the key is all of these have 90-degree triangles. Okay, now next year in pre-calc, we're going to learn, okay, how do you solve if you don't have a 90-degree triangle? Okay, but we'll get into that next year in pre-calc. But now, guys, the hard part about this is you've got to decide which word do you need to use. And that's the part that's most challenging, is looking at the triangle, deciding what word to use. Is it sine? Now, the angle's 38. You can see that's inside there, 38. Is it sine 38, cosine 38, or tangent 38? That's the decision. So what we have to do is look and see what parts of the triangle. Guys, there's three parts of your triangle. Hypotenuse, which is across from 90. So actually you can see across from 90 is the hypotenuse. And there we do have the hypotenuse on this one. So then, and then you have the angle, and you have a side that's close. See, 38's here. This angle's right beside it. See that? That would be adjacent. The ADJ, adjacent. Adjacent means like to be next to. If I stand adjacent to you, I'm standing next to you. So 38 and this side here is adjacent. But look, I'm not asking for that one. So this one's not adjacent. So guess what? We know it's not cosine. And then we look, here's 38. X is on the opposite side of the triangle. See that? Here's 38. X is way down here. I'm trying to solve for x, which means I'm going to solve for the opposite. And we already said we have the hypotenuse. So right here, guys, we know that we're going to use sine for this one. So it's sine of 38. And then opposite, which opposite was the x over 14. So again, hypotenuse was 14 centimeters, so 14. Okay, now guys, I don't think you've had to really use it, but guys, there's a Google calculator. If you just type in your Chromebook, Google calculator will come up, and you'll be able to use sine, cosine, and tangent on the calculator. Now, one thing you got to check, there are two different modes on that Google calculator. Make sure it's DEG, degrees. I think when you first open, you're going to see RAD highlighted. I think we did this in class. Remember, that's radians. Remember that radian stuff that we converted to? But you can't use radians because we're talking about 38 degrees. So you've got to highlight. Guys, you've got to make sure that DEG is highlighted. So you're just going to kind of move the mouse, click on degrees. Make sure that your Google calculator is in degrees, not in radians. Okay, that's going to be something important when you get there. But anyway, here's what's nice, guys. You're just typing this in. Now, guys, remember, I'm solving for x. X is in the numerator. So remember, just like solving an equation, I need to get rid of the denominator. Remember, the bottom of a fraction means to divide. The bottom of fraction means divide, so to cancel, I'm going to multiply. See right here? Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the same to the other, so I'm going to take sine of 38 times 14, okay? And look, I'm going to be able to solve for x. Now, guys, when you type this in, sine, when you hit sine, you type in 38, it's going to have a parentheses at the beginning. You're going to need to put a finish parentheses. Now, again, I wish you had the handy-dandy yellow calculator, but obviously you don't. Some of you guys might have one of these at home. Obviously, you can use that. But again, on your Google calculator, you're just going to type in sine 38, but then parentheses. You got to do a finish parentheses. Otherwise, it's going to take the angle times 14 instead of the whole sine times 14. So sine 38 parenthesis, a finish parenthesis, times 14. Hit enter. And again, these are going to be decimal answers. And so this 8.61, which will just state 8.6. Boom. There's your answer, 8.6. So this, if this was 14 centimeters, guys, and that was 38 degrees, this side would be 8.6. That's what we just found, 8.6. Okay, let's move on over here. Try a couple more together. Okay, we'll move a little quicker since we got the hang of it. Okay, now again, there's the 90. Again, the first thing I like to do is always arrow across from the 90 and see, do I have the hypotenuse? Yes, I do. I have the hypotenuse. Now, guys, there's my angle. Look, x is right beside the angle. See that? Guys, that is adjacent. That means x is the adjacent side. If I look over there, what's adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine this time. So it's cosine of my angle. So again, cosine of 73. And again, you can see the fraction. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So x over 9. X over 9. Okay, so there's my setup. Cosine 73 equals x, my adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, guys, just like we did on this other one right here, x is in the numerator, so I'm going to multiply by the denominator, which cancels. Whatever I do to one side, I got to do it to the other. So cosine of 73, again, remember, we're going to do a finish parenthesis when we type this in, times 9. Whatever I do to one side, I'm doing the same to the other. And this is what you're typing in your Google calculator. Cosine 73 parenthesis times 9 and 2.63, so I'm going to round to just 2.6 since there's a 3 after the 6. 2.6, boom. Okay, so this side right here would be 2.6 centimeters. Okay, that's what we just found, 2.6. Okay, last one here. Now look at this triangle. Again, remember, first step I like to do is arrow across from the 90. Uh-oh, nothing's there. There's no hypotenuse, is there? There's no hypotenuse side. So look up there. What's the only one that doesn't say hypotenuse in it? Tangent. So guys, that's kind of the easy one. If you don't have the hypotenuse, it's automatically tangent. Now, when you have the hypotenuse, then you have to decide, do I have sine or do I have cosine? So that is a little more challenging. But when you don't see a hypotenuse at all, you automatically know that it's tangent. Now, our angle, you can see 43, so tangent of 43. Now, again, opposite over adjacent. Now, guys, here's 43. Remember, opposite means on the other side of the triangle, so x is my opposite. And then look, 43 and 11. See how they're next to each other, adjacent? See, 11 is my adjacent. That's on the bottom right there. So opposite over adjacent. Now, what's nice, guys, you're solving this the same way. I'm going to, when the x is in the numerator, now the next video, next week, we will do the x in the denominator, okay? But this is x in the numerator, multiplied by 11, cancels. So tangent of 43 times 11. Okay. So again, let's grab our calculator. Okay. Tangent 43. Again, close the parenthesis. Times 11. Boom. Oh, now this one has to be rounded. So 10.25. So guys, 10.25. I'm underlining the 2 because it's a 5. 10.3. Okay, so 10.3 is the length of side X right there. Okay, 10.3. Okay, that's it right there. Now, on these homework problems, again, try to figure out what word you have, set it up, use your Google Calculator. Okay, whoop, don't want to get a shadow on there. Okay, can everybody see that? So the first one, that angle's 54. The side is 17 and X, and then the other one, 66, and then side 6, and then X is on the other side. Okay, so go ahead and try those and put those in the journal answers, okay? Thanks, guys. See ya. Have a good weekend.